Welcome to the Wisdom Ones channel. If you're new here, we're so glad you're joining us. This space is dedicated to uncovering deep truths, spiritual awakenings, and exploring the profound journey of the chosen ones. In this video, we're going to dive into something incredibly powerful. What if I told you that someone who has wronged you, someone who has kept secrets, is out there right now, feeling a weight on their chest that they can't escape? They are being haunted, and the only way for them to find peace is through confessing to you. This isn't just a casual moment. This is divine pressure. God has commanded the truth, and it's time for them to come clean. Stay with me as we explore what's happening behind the scenes. Before we dive deeper, I want to invite you to become part of this amazing journey. Please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the Wisdom Ones channel, and if you feel the energy of this message, leave a comment below with the word God. It will help the message reach others who need to hear it. Now, let's get into this. When someone who has wronged you, someone who has kept secrets, is tossing and turning in their bed right now. They can't sleep because it feels like there's a heavy boulder in their chest. Every time they close their eyes, the weight of the truth presses down on them. They can't escape it. They try to push it aside, to forget it, but it's not going away. This isn't just their mind playing tricks on them. This is something much bigger, a divine force at work. God won't let them rest until they come clean to you. You may wonder why they can't shake it off. Why are they suddenly so desperate to confess? It's because their very soul is being pressured by something beyond their understanding. You see, when someone crosses a chosen one, it's not like any ordinary guilt. It's as if the universe itself has turned against them, pushing them to face the truth. This feeling doesn't just linger in their thoughts. It affects every part of their life. Small annoyances turn into massive burdens. Patience begins to run thin. Even sleep betrays them, leaving them with restless nights, staring at the ceiling, waiting for peace that never comes. As for the chosen ones, this pressure is even more intense. Your energy, your very presence, holds a unique power. It's almost supernatural. It disrupts those around you, especially those who have wronged you. It doesn't just sit in the background. It forces them to confront the truth. They can no longer ignore the weight of their actions. They may wake up drenched in sweat, hearing their inner voice say, "I really should call them." This is the divine pressure at work, guiding them toward a confession they can no longer avoid. Studies show that when people harbor guilt, it manifests physically, from restlessness to racing hearts. These physical symptoms are the body's way of reacting to an unsettled conscience. But for the chosen ones, this goes even deeper. Your energy makes it impossible for those who have wronged you to find peace. They can't escape it, no matter how hard they try. And here's where it gets even more interesting. They realize that confessing to you isn't just about easing their guilt. It's about survival. They can't move forward without making things right with you. Until they do, they will feel the weight of that burden pressing down on them, spiritually and physically. But there's more to it than just guilt. The pressure they're feeling isn't just about them. It's about their spiritual journey. When someone wrongs a chosen one, it's often part of a larger, almost mystical test. It's not just a lapse in judgment or a selfish act. Deep down, they know that their actions are tied to a much bigger spiritual lesson. Your presence, your energy, holds a unique spiritual gravity. It draws out both the best and the worst. For those who have wronged you, there's an overwhelming sense that they've failed a test of integrity. This isn't just about asking for forgiveness in your eyes. It's about redeeming themselves in their own spiritual journey. Here, the feeling of failure becomes a shadow that lingers over them. They can't escape it. What they've done isn't just something they can forget. It's a deep, undeniable mark on their soul. And that's where you come in. Your energy demands honesty, respect, and alignment with higher principles. They realize that in order to move forward, they need to come clean. Confessing to you isn't just about owning up to their actions. It's about fulfilling their spiritual destiny. It's about moving beyond a mistake that has left a deep mark on their spirit. When they stand in your presence, it's like everything within them is exposed. Your energy disrupts their own, pulling the hidden guilt to the surface. They can't hide it anymore. They feel restless, uneasy, even defensive. It's as if your presence is shining a light on the darkness they've been carrying. It's uncomfortable. In fact, it's unbearable. The more they resist this feeling, the worse it gets. The only way they can find relief is by confessing to you. They may try to ignore it, but it's no use. The pressure builds, and they realize that confessing is the only way to find peace. This isn't just about the guilt they feel. It's about the unseen consequences of their actions. When someone wrongs a chosen one, it's as if they invite a wave of misfortune into their own life. At first, they may brush it off. A missed deadline here, an argument there. But soon, the setbacks begin to pile up. What seemed like a few bad days turns into something more persistent. Opportunities slip away. Financial troubles arise. Personal life disruptions become constant. They may start to wonder if this is connected to the wrong they did to them. As their misfortune grows, so does their sense that this is more than just bad luck. They begin to suspect that their troubles are a form of cosmic justice. It's as if the universe itself is punishing them for what they've done. They can't escape it. No matter how hard they try, nothing seems to change. It's at this point that they start to realize that the only way to stop the bad luck, to turn their life around, is by coming clean to you. Confessing isn't just about easing their conscience. It's about clearing the way for their life to get back on track. But there's something even deeper at play. When someone wrongs a chosen one, it's often part of a greater spiritual journey, a soul contract that was made before they even came into this life. This connection is deeper than either of you may fully realize. There's a spiritual pull drawing them to you, urging them to confess. They may not understand it consciously, but their soul knows they need to make things right in order to move forward. This isn't just about apologizing. It's about fulfilling their soul's mission. The confession is a step toward redemption, a bridge to spiritual growth, and a necessary part of their journey. In this moment, they realize something crucial. They are not in control. Their ego, which once shielded them from acknowledging wrongdoing, is now powerless in the face of a greater force. This divine reckoning, this spiritual consequence, has broken through their defenses. For the first time, they see that no amount of pride or self-righteousness can shield them from the truth. And so, they are pushed toward you, toward confessing, not just to ease their own burden, but to fulfill their higher purpose. As you can see, this is no ordinary confession. This is the beginning of a profound spiritual journey for both of you. They are being drawn to you, not just because of the guilt they carry, but because it's time for them to face the truth. And that truth will not let them rest until they've made it known to you. The divine pressure is undeniable, and they are being compelled to confess. Your need to confess isn't driven solely by guilt or shame. It's a deep, unspoken desire for redemption. They know the mistakes they've made, the damage they've caused, and the chasm it has created between you and them. But more than that, they feel the immense weight of the consequences, not just in their relationships with others, but in the very essence of who they are. Their spirit is fractured, clouded by the burden of their actions, and they long for the chance to heal. They understand that confession isn't just about making things right. It's about restoring themselves to a place of inner peace. The realization slowly dawns on them that they can't heal without your acceptance, without your understanding. They know the depth of what they've done, but they also understand that your forgiveness has the power to restore them in ways they can't do alone. You are a beacon of light in their dark world, and the energy of your forgiveness holds the key to their spiritual healing. It isn't just about righting wrongs. It's about aligning themselves with the peace and grace they see in you. They might never fully grasp the magnitude of what your forgiveness could offer them, but deep within, their spirit is pleading for it. The idea that your words, your acceptance, could unravel the chains that have bound them for so long is both a desperate hope and a vital truth. They yearn to be free from the shadow of their past mistakes, to step into a space where their soul can breathe, unburdened and whole once again. Your forgiveness to them is not a simple act of kindness. It is the restoration of balance in a world that has felt skewed, the turning point where they can begin to reclaim what they lost. For some, it may even be that the only way they can find peace is through the acknowledgement of what they've done to you. It's as if confronting you is the one final step in unraveling the inner chaos, the confusion, the heaviness that has kept them from feeling fully alive. They know that this is not a process that can be rushed or avoided. It requires time, patience, and humility. But they also recognize that by confessing, they open themselves up to a transformative force, your energy, your light. So they don't expect you to instantly forgive them, nor do they expect things to return to what they once were. But even in their confession, they are giving you the space to decide to see them for what they truly are, flawed, yes, but desperately seeking redemption, and that this act of bravery, of laying themselves bare, is not just about seeking your approval. It's about seeking their own healing, their own absolution from the turmoil they have carried for so long. As their confession unfolds, they realize it's not about relieving their own conscience, although that is a part of it. It's about offering you the truth, even if it's painful. They understand that your reaction might not be what they hoped for, but they also understand that honesty is the first step toward mending what was broken. The truth they bring is not just a string of words. It is a gift of vulnerability, an offering of their rawest self. The depth of their confession reflects the depth of their regret. They know that no amount of words can undo the past, but they hope that in this moment, their honesty will spark the beginning of healing, not just for you, but for them. To admit their wrongs, to face the consequences, and to lay their soul open before you is the hardest thing they will ever do. But it is, without a doubt, the most transformative. They're stepping into the unknown, but in doing so, they reclaim the possibility of becoming the person they've always longed to be. A person who stands not in the shadows of their mistakes, but in the light of truth. Yet, even as they confess, there is something more profound happening on a spiritual level. They feel a shift, a subtle, almost imperceptible movement within their being. It's as if, with each word of honesty, they are shedding layers of themselves, the layers that no longer serve them, the layers that have kept them trapped in the cycle of guilt and shame. They begin to see themselves differently, not just as someone who has hurt you, but as someone who has the potential to rise from their mistakes, to redefine who they are. Your forgiveness, or even your willingness to listen, becomes a catalyst for their transformation. But it doesn't stop there. Their soul yearns not only for your forgiveness, but for your respect. They understand the sacredness of your judgment, the weight that your opinion holds in their life. In a world where validation can often be bought or faked, your respect is something they know must be earned through authentic change. They can't undo their actions, but in this moment of confession, they seek to show you that they are capable of growth, of transformation. They want to show you that they can rise above their mistakes, and that, in time, they can embody the integrity that once seemed so distant. This yearning for respect is not just about seeking your approval. It's about finding a deeper connection. They want to stand before you, stripped of the ego, and show you the part of them that longs to be seen not as the person who wronged you, but as someone who has learned, who has grown, who has transformed. They are not asking for blind acceptance. They are asking for a chance to prove themselves worthy of your respect. But even in this longing for respect, they know they must first face the truth within themselves. They must accept their own shortcomings, their own flaws, before they can ask you to see them for who they truly are. This journey towards self-acceptance is not an easy one. It requires them to face the darkest parts of their soul, the parts they've hidden from the world and from themselves. But in doing so, they reclaim their power, they find their truth. And it is in this truth that they begin to transform. They also feel the weight of the spiritual power shift that has taken place as they've wronged you. As you rise spiritually, emotionally, and energetically, they are left behind struggling to keep up. The gap between you grows wider, and they feel it in every fiber of their being. Your ascent highlights their own stagnation, their own limitations. It's as if the very energy that once connected you is slipping away, leaving them stranded in a sea of regret and longing. They realize that in order to keep pace with your growth, they must address the past. They must confront their wrongs and seek the spiritual healing that comes with reconciliation. The longer they go without confessing, the more they feel the spiritual distance. The gap between you widens, and with it, their sense of isolation deepens. They understand that by confessing to you, they not only hope to restore balance to the relationship, but they also seek to realign themselves with the flow of energy that has been lost. They want to rise alongside you, to reconnect with the spirit of unity and love that once bonded you together. The idea of being left behind, of watching you soar while they remain in the shadows, terrifies them. And so, they confess, hoping against hope that by doing so, they will find their way back to the light. Your forgiveness is the key. It is the bridge that can bring them back to the life they once knew. They hope that by confessing, they will be granted the opportunity to reconnect with the abundance, joy, and peace they have lost. But they also know that forgiveness is not guaranteed. It is a gift, one that they must earn not just through words but through action. They can only hope that in this moment of raw vulnerability, they will find the grace they need to move forward. The act of confession is not just about seeking forgiveness. It is about seeking alignment. It is about finding their place in the world once again, standing in the light of truth, and walking the path of redemption. It is a process of self-discovery, of spiritual awakening. As they face the truth, they hope to awaken something within themselves, the potential for growth, for change, for transformation. And it is in this transformation that they find the possibility of redemption. If this message has resonated with you, if you feel the weight of these words deep within your spirit, leave a comment saying God and subscribe to our channel, Wisdom Ones. Let's continue this journey of truth, healing, and growth together. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to walk this path alongside you. The journey towards spiritual awakening, reconciliation, and transformation is one that transcends the material world and taps into the deeper recesses of our souls. Throughout our lives, we encounter moments that shake us to the core, times when our actions, our mistakes, and the choices we have made create distance between us and the people we care about. But as we rise spiritually, as we strive for growth, we begin to see that our actions are not just about us. They ripple through the universe, impacting not only our lives but also the lives of others. The energy we carry affects our relationships, and when we wrong others, especially those who are deeply attuned to the spiritual forces around them, the consequences are far greater than we might initially perceive. Forgiveness, particularly when sought from a chosen one, is not a simple act of rectifying a mistake. It is a powerful spiritual release that can heal wounds not just on the surface but deep within. This is why seeking forgiveness is such a significant and transformative act. It's about acknowledging the deeper spiritual imbalance that exists when we have wronged someone, especially someone whose spirit has been elevated. The moment we choose to confess, to release the burden of our guilt, and to seek the grace of those we've hurt, we are not just hoping for absolution. We are, in fact, hoping to realign ourselves with the flow of life, the flow of positivity, and the spiritual abundance that connects us all. When we wrong someone, especially a chosen one, we disrupt the flow of energy between us. This disruption doesn't just affect the immediate relationship. It creates a barrier between us and the abundance that is meant for us. It's the lies, the deceit, the manipulation. These actions create energetic blockages, which affect not only the relationship but also the course of our lives. As the days pass and the energy of truth begins to encroach upon us, we can no longer ignore the tension that builds inside. Our spirits are weighed down by the consequences of our actions, and we begin to realize that the only way to move forward is to confront the truth. This truth isn't just about admitting our mistakes to another person. It's about confronting the shadows within us, the parts of our being that we have kept hidden for far too long. The act of confessing is not just about seeking peace with the person we've wronged. It's about confronting the dissonance within our own souls and attempting to restore the spiritual harmony that we've disrupted. It is a humbling and transformative moment, one that forces us to face the reality of who we've been and who we are becoming. It requires us to strip away our ego, our pride, and our defenses, and to stand vulnerably in the presence of another, asking for their forgiveness. In these moments, we begin to understand something profound. The forgiveness we seek is not just for the release of our guilt. It is for the restoration of our spirits, the energy that we have been carrying. The shame, the regret, the remorse clings to us, blocking our connection to the divine flow of life. When we wrong someone, especially a chosen one, we create a spiritual disconnect, and without forgiveness, this disconnect grows, becoming a source of spiritual stagnation and emotional turmoil. Seeking forgiveness is not just about healing the relationship. It is about healing ourselves, restoring the balance that has been lost, and finding our way back to a place of peace and alignment. It's important to understand that the process of confession and seeking forgiveness is not easy. It requires a deep level of humility and a willingness to face the consequences of our actions. It's not about justification or making excuses. It's about standing fully in the truth of what we have done and acknowledging the hurt we have caused. This requires us to step beyond the confines of our own ego and embrace the discomfort of vulnerability. The energy of truth is relentless. It will haunt us, it will stir within us, and it will not allow us to rest until we have confronted it. And this is where the true power of confession lies. It's not just about the words we speak or the actions we take. It's about the transformation that occurs within us when we choose to face the truth and allow it to free us. When we confess, when we come clean, we open the door to healing. Not just for ourselves, but for those we have wronged. The process of confession is one of mutual healing. The energy that is released through this act of spiritual realignment is powerful. As we shed the weight of our guilt, we allow the other person to release the burden of carrying that hurt. In this way, the act of confession becomes a sacred exchange, one that creates the possibility of reconciliation and spiritual growth for both parties involved. But what happens if the other person does not accept our confession? What if they do not forgive us, or are unable to see past the pain we have caused? The reality is that the process of confession and forgiveness is not always immediately reciprocated. It's important to understand that forgiveness is a deeply personal journey for both the one who is wronged and the one who has been wronged. Sometimes, the person we seek forgiveness from may not be ready to release the hurt, and that is something we must accept. But even in these moments, the act of confession remains transformative for us. It's an act of spiritual courage, a declaration that we are ready to move forward, regardless of the response we receive. When we seek forgiveness, we often hope for immediate relief, an instant sense of peace and release from the burden of guilt. However, the reality is that forgiveness is not always granted immediately, and the process of healing can be slow and complex. Even in those moments when the forgiveness we seek is not immediately forthcoming, we are still making an important decision to move forward on our healing journey. And choosing to seek forgiveness, we are consciously letting go of the emotional weight that guilt brings, even if the person we have wronged does not yet offer us the relief we desire. This decision to seek forgiveness is not just about the other person's reaction. It's about us choosing to release that burden ourselves, regardless of how others respond. The act of asking for forgiveness is a powerful step towards self-healing, a commitment to releasing negativity from within. By acknowledging our mistakes, we open up the possibility for a profound transformation within ourselves. We take responsibility for our actions, and in doing so, we allow ourselves the space to grow and evolve. This process of acknowledging our wrongs and expressing our desire for reconciliation is about more than seeking immediate absolution. It is about recognizing that by taking the first step, we are opening the door to a shift, not just in the relationship, but in the energy within us, even if the other person cannot or will not forgive us right away. Our act of seeking forgiveness can begin to shift the energy, both within us and in the universe surrounding us. The greater context of spiritual growth, the act of seeking forgiveness is an essential part of our journey. It helps us to understand that our actions, thoughts, and energy do not simply affect the material world around us. They have a profound impact on our spiritual selves. The energy we carry, both positive and negative, affects our connection to our higher selves and the universe. Seeking forgiveness is an important step in realigning ourselves with this flow of spiritual energy. It is a recognition that our actions have consequences that go beyond the immediate effects on others. They shape the path of our spiritual journey and our connection to the divine. Through seeking forgiveness, we take an active role in shaping the course of our lives, choosing healing, growth, and spiritual freedom, even in the face of uncertainty. Ultimately, the journey toward confession, forgiveness, and spiritual realignment is a deeply transformative process that requires profound courage, unwavering humility, and a deep commitment to our own spiritual evolution. This journey goes far beyond the surface level act of apologizing for our actions or seeking immediate relief from guilt. It is a profound inner calling to heal, grow, and reclaim our authentic selves. It is a path that touches not just our actions, but the very core of our soul. The act of confession is not merely about admitting our wrongdoings to another person. It is about reconciling with ourselves, acknowledging the parts of us that have been hidden in the shadows, and making space for healing to occur on a deeper level. Confession is, in its truest sense, an act of spiritual liberation. When we confess, we step into the light of self-awareness, allowing ourselves to be fully seen, not just by others, but by our higher selves. This act of transparency and honesty is a powerful invitation to reconnect with the divine flow of energy that sustains us. It is a moment when we choose to release the weight of our guilt, shame, and regret, knowing that by doing so, we are no longer bound by the mistakes of the past. Instead, we free ourselves to rise above them, embracing the potential for renewal and transformation. The true essence of confession lies in its ability to transform not only our external relationships, but our internal landscape. It is an acknowledgement that our wrongs are not just mistakes in the material world. They are energetic imprints that affect our connection to the divine and to our own spiritual purpose. When we confess, we are inviting the flow of divine grace and healing into our lives, allowing us to realign with the higher purpose that has always been waiting for us. In this process, we are reminded that the path to spiritual growth is not always linear or easy. It requires that we face the parts of ourselves that we may have been avoiding, the uncomfortable truths that lie beneath the surface, and the mistakes that have caused us pain. Yet it is through this very confrontation that we are able to transcend those limitations, shedding the old skin of guilt and shame that once held us captive. Stepping into a new reality means allowing ourselves to be redefined by our experiences, no longer defined by our errors, but by the wisdom we gain from them. We learn that transformation is not about perfection, but about the willingness to face our imperfections with love and compassion. It is about embracing the possibility that we are always evolving, always capable of change, and always aligned with a higher purpose that calls us toward growth, healing, and spiritual freedom. In this journey, we come to realize that the act of confession is not just about releasing the past. It is about opening the door to the future. When we confess, we are not just asking for forgiveness. We are creating a space for growth and rebirth. It is through this openness and vulnerability that we are able to move forward, aligned with the divine energy that guides us. We are no longer trapped in the cycles of regret and guilt. Instead, we are free to step into the fullness of our being, knowing that our true essence is one of love, compassion, and spiritual vitality. Through confession, forgiveness, and realignment, we embark on a path that leads us closer to the person we are meant to be, a person who is deeply connected to the divine flow of life and aligned with the higher purpose that is ours to claim. If you have found this message resonating with your own journey, and if you feel the stirring of truth within you, I encourage you to take that step today. Seek forgiveness where it is needed, confess your truth, and allow the energy of healing to flow through you. Understand that this journey is not just about the other person. It's about you, about your own spiritual awakening, and about the transformation that lies ahead. As you rise, as you seek to align yourself with a higher purpose that is calling you, know that you are not alone. The energy of truth will guide you, and the grace of forgiveness will light your way. And if you feel this message has touched you deeply, if you sense the shift within you, please take a moment to leave a comment on this video with the word God to affirm your commitment to this journey. Subscribe to our channel, Wisdom Ones, and join a community of individuals who are walking this path of spiritual awakening together. Your support means the world to us, and we are honored to continue this journey alongside you. Let us rise together, and let us step into the light of truth, healing, and transformation.